I turned 40 today. When I was young, that was old. As I projected my fears of arriving here, the consolation in my child mind was that I'd at least be wiser by this milestone age, but that hasn't proven the case. I'm still mistake prone. I still feel awash in uncertainty, disoriented by events outside my control, and returned into my fragile nervous system. I still get scared by phantoms, both real and imagined, in the middle of the night. There is no great filing cabinet of the past that allows one to avoid the pains of the future. The more data you collect, the more it opens up whole new worlds of things you don't know jack shit about. And maybe the wisdom is in building an awareness of all you don't understand and embracing the energy of wanting to find out. That there is still so much to learn despite our powerlessness to conquer the patterns. So what then haven't I learned? I haven't learned to let creativity die. Some people do. I grieve for them. My wife says I hate seeing someone give up on their creativity, and I do, to a compulsion. I love creativity, even just the attempt, a peek at what can be unconcealed, visions for imagining alternative worlds that are strong enough that I refuse to entertain the current one is enough. This impulse of mine, it's not a dissatisfaction with saguaro cacti, the Pacific Ocean, my wife's shoulder in my hand as I fall asleep and feel tethered to love in an orbit. It's not about what's lacking, it's about expressing joy at what is and how to combine it with more of what is. A block of clay is lovely as a block, but when you apply your hands to it, you've now combined elements, committed an act of magic. I believe we are here to express and explain our existence to ourselves and each other. When we have a creative practice, it allows us to deepen that exploration and dig for explanations. I first said that out loud to my friend Brian George at lunch at a restaurant that has since been burned down by a wildfire. He and I once made a no-budget movie in abandoned factories and farms in Northern California. Sometimes we'd be so entranced by our micro-world of the creative, it would be jarring when someone would remind us we were still in this immovably large one. There was a scene with a small pickup truck and my character in construction attire, and in between takes, a city official stopped by to make sure we weren't stealing from the nearby compost piles, which by every account it looked like we could have been. But we didn't even notice the compost piles. We were just exploring an alternative world together, filled with more choices than this one affords. I haven't learned proper rest and recovery time. I haven't learned how to stop eating like a teenager, healthier ingredients making the same chocolate chip cookies. I haven't learned to stop moving my body and chasing quick hits of sugar to do it. I haven't learned how to repay kindness and still feel the deficit. I haven't learned to work a real job. I've never had a LinkedIn. I just walk into a coffee shop, restaurant, hardware store, bar, market, and ask if they're hiring, then accept the consequences. I haven't learned to navigate complicated gatekeeping with the marketplace. I'd rather figure it out free of well-heeled decision makers. They would likely feel the same contempt toward me if they knew I existed. I published my own poetry book last May and have sold almost 2,000 copies in less than a year. It was the only successful encounter I've had with navigating the marketplace, and I believe it's because I skipped over hierarchy and trusted that people would meet me if I met them. I've done the same since I started touring my comedy last year. I don't know how all that bodes for retirement. I wonder if many in my generation will know. I do know I will likely be working until the day I die, but I haven't learned to accept the alternatives. I haven't learned to skip a sunset or a sunrise, check for stars in the night sky, hunt the moon with my eyes. I haven't learned of anything better than observing the natural elements and trying not to get in their way. I haven't learned how to survive independent of the unnatural world, but do understand all our good comes from the rhythms of our planet, not the accelerated urges of extracting its excesses. I haven't learned to reject my wife's suggestions that are outside my box of comfort. She often proves to have a vision for places to see. It unveils who we are, and thankfully I haven't learned to not listen. I haven't learned to give up on people. Isn't that disgusting? All the plain evidence that we are vile and violent, the systems put in place that crush each other, Still, I can't unhear laughter. I refuse to forget kindness, even as the harm that men perpetrate happens so often it seems baked into our damnation. I trust the better angels. The other night I walked past a pickup truck with a sign that said to take whatever clothes you needed out of its bed. Evil seems like aberration when you've traipsed along mountain trails to a waterfall with a friend opening his heart to you as you do the same to him. There is a reason capitalism is referred to as a parasite. Colonialism, genocide are infectious disease symptoms of the parasite, but they are not the host body. Babies aren't born to rob others of life. Our innate goodness has been scrubbed from the record by capital unless it can be commodified or used to control. But we have a history of goodness as a species. Evil is still the exception. I still haven't learned to believe otherwise. I still haven't learned of anything better than dogs. I have to go take mine out right now. He's already cuddled on my lap once, and his patience is wearing thin. I can't do hustle culture with a dog that needs to cuddle, then go walk around the city smelling things and finding a shady spot to soak in the breeze. I haven't learned to need anything more than a bicycle ride. I don't think I'll be base jumping in this lifetime. Riding my bicycle up and down hills is as wild as my activities are going to get. I still haven't learned to not find riding a bike the ultimate sense of freedom. I'm here at my desk, sitting uncomfortably in my chair from decades of being a tall person in chairs that don't fit. I woke up 40 years old. Numbers mean nothing except how to pinpoint an absence or a presence. Independent of numbers, I am who I know myself to be, an evolving being through time and space, lucky to inhabit this form briefly. Why do we age and express regret? I've been young, and if it were enough, I'd still be young. I am meant to get older. I have learned that. I will admit to understanding something about aging because I am enduring it. The way history shows itself in lines on my face, cracks in my teeth, how our stories get written in injuries and scars, mobilities taken away, flexibility challenged. Age is the price we pay for experience. Age is the cost of surviving and the treasures found in surviving and the inevitable losses of those treasures. I find humor in it, deep sadness, acceptance, mania, gratitude. I'm grateful for this process of aging because I haven't learned of any other way. Thank you if you made it this far.